On June 29, 2013, 8 poachers left their home in Pakanyi, a village with sleepy rhythms in Masindi district near Murchison Falls National Park. Under the cover of the night, these men trudged the pathways towards the forested depths of Murchison Park, a familiar route they had taken to poach wildlife. A jungle teeming with 76 species of mammals, these poachers often hunted elephants for meat and tusks, a lucrative trade which tangled the game rangers they collaborated with in the web. According to the evidence I gathered, after trekking for almost 2 days, these men reached Labongo camp, deep inside the wildlife park which straddles 3,893 kilometers. However, unknown to them, the poachers had been ensnared. Once at Labongo camp, these men were offered where to sleep. Only 1 out of the 8 men was able to return home. Rangers stormed the house and arrested his colleagues. Amongst those who led the operation was a ranger who, according to correspondences, often colluded with his poachers. These poachers were then stripped naked and their shirts used as blindfolds. I traveled to eastern Uganda to speak to a former ranger who was deployed at Labongo camp when this incident took place. After many hours of waiting, this source finally accepted to meet us at a secret location, claiming their men trailing him with plans to kill him.
We are currently here at a secret location where we are going to speak to a man who claims he holds vital information into what transpired inside Murchison Falls National Park when these 7 men went missing. Perhaps could he open the lid into what transpired inside the forested depths of Murchison Falls National Park when these men went missing? We'll soon find out.
To prove his story, he presented an employment contract and showed us pictures he stealthily shot with his phone before these men were killed. The source revealed that these 7 men were bundled onto a pickup and carted off to another location inside the park, and once there, they were shot dead.
I really saw them. They started. Saib told these other rangers that if I start firing, then you also follow. If you don't hear my shooting, don't. And after shooting, you must make sure that somebody is dead before you leave. And when you turn, don't look behind. Just move direct to the Land Cruiser. So they fired these people. Saib himself shot Mabutu. And then Ojovire Gifty shot Moses. Then these other rangers, you know, these old rangers, there were many. So I couldn't identify all of them. They also shot other remaining people.
Someone would wonder why it has taken you all this long to speak out about what transpired at Murchison Falls National Park.
Me, I was quiet because I was still working with the organization. Like they say when you sign their contracts, like the one I signed, they say you have to conceal the secrets of the organization. Which means when you leave, you have to reveal them out. So why I came out is that UWA used me. I arrested the people and they killed them. After killing, they transferred me here and they sacked me. Sacking me, there was no reason.
However, the spokesperson of Uganda Wildlife Authority claims there's no record to show that these men ever entered the national park. It's a practice for parks in the country to register those who access the area, and conservation area managers warn that in case one sneaks into the park and is harmed by wildlife, they are not legally responsible.
Our defense is on the record of the court, I think, in the Masindi. But what I can say generally is still we are not aware of such people. We have all the records of people who have entered on day-to-day basis, and we are not responsible or accountable for people who might use any illegal entrance. They call it panya, and what will happen to them. Because this is a wildlife environment, they might either encounter, if at all they enter, they might encounter lions or any wild animals. Some can maul them, some can kill them. But that's the stand. Up to now, we cannot confirm that any people entered the park unless they have been registered through our official gates. We cannot say any of our staff do connive with any people intending to poach or hunt, because our primary task is to guard our wildlife.
Earlier on this year, I visited Pakanyi village, an area still haunted by this mystery.
I saw a man called Mobutu came to call my sons. That was the first son was Moses, Mali Moses, and the second one was Ozele Bernard. Mobutu told them he has a friend in a park who is calling him to go along with the others. So he collected them on that very day. And then from that day up to now, I haven't seen my sons.
It was around the 4th July. That's when my elder brother called me that, you first come at home, there is a problem. Me, I asked him what is the problem. He could not reveal the problem, what the problem was. Then later on, I had to come. When I came here, I found people just in tears, crying.
Richard Benega was the only one who escaped from the park the night when his colleagues were arrested.
At about 8 p.m., when we arrived there, Jovule came to meet us and was happy to see us, and he expressed his concern about our stay at that place. They cooked food for them, and it went bad. He said there is food, so removed the things that we came with, amongst which were cigarettes and sachets. After that, we were tired and wanted to sleep. They gave us rooms to sleep, about 3 rooms. After a short while, I left and went to the toilet. I had footsteps approaching the area where we were sleeping, and immediately they got to the door where we were sleeping. They knocked it down, and they asked, "Are you all in here?" And we said we were all in, and I was wondering what the problem is, as I was in the toilet at the time. A few minutes later, I had the sound of a car approaching, and I figured it was a bad sign. So I quietly slipped out of the toilet and started listening from a distance. The car flashed its signs on the door where my colleagues were, and they started removing them from the room.
A judge had dismissed this case for lack of evidence. In his judgment, Judge Simon Byakakama suggested that perhaps the men were eaten by wild animals. But a zoology expert contested this theory.
Lions tend to eat one prey at a time. A pride gets one prey, say a zebra. If the other prey is around, there will be of no consequence. And when they have eaten, I told you they stay for 4 days without eating again. Unless these poachers were there waiting to be eaten after 4 days, which is not possible also. Someone has been eaten in a national park or game reserve. Everything is eaten away. The birds of prey will come and take the eyes. The hyenas, jackals will come and take away the bones. The only thing which can remain, and it must always remain, is the head, the skull, because the skull is round. Every time you try to eat it as a hyena, to rotate. So if you are looking for somebody, you look for the skull. It will always be there, unless you are telling me that someone came and carried away the skulls.
According to Ugandan laws, the person is presumed dead after missing for 7 years. Now, on June 29, 2016, it will be exactly 3 years since these men went missing. For their families, in the place of hope lies trepidation.
With new evidence emerging, a case has been reinstated in Masindi High Court. The relatives of the missing men, who are suing Uganda Wildlife Authority both in a criminal and civil suit, are represented by Ladislaus Wakafuzi, a human rights lawyer.
I thought who were, by this time, since it is supposed to be acting it's an organization for public service and therefore for the public interest, by this time they should have been able also to meet the families of these people. At least through us, their lawyers, and say, look here, we are sorry this thing happened. They give their own side of the story. Instead of just being technical, let's say, they put up a technical defense saying that there's no evidence that these people entered the park. I mean, that one cannot work anymore. See, so much has already been revealed about the death of these people. So putting up a technical defense is wrong. They should really meet the families of these people, say sorry to them, and promise not to repeat these things.
Emmanuel Mutaizibwa, NTV Weekend Edition.